We good?
You have one girl, but she's of the age that
She is, she's lovely.
Okay, I received the signal from the sidelines. I think we're ready to start this game. So don't forget to silence your gadgets. If you have anything for us, it goes to Mr. Curran. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Bell. Curran.
Here.
Freely. Harrison.
Here.
Hinkleman. Is absent. Pitchford.
Present.
Tyler. Here. Wilrath.
Here.
Werfel. Here. Yarborough.
present.
Elliott.
Here.
You have 9 present.
Maybe 10.
And Bell's not.
Oh, not, that's right. How could we?
You were at your son.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. How could I forget Alex? Okay. We have a quorum in any event, so we have minutes from a week ago to approve.
I'll make that motion. I'll support.
Moved by Pitchford, supported by Volrath. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Might be some requisitions.
There are. Good morning. Does anybody have any questions about the requisition list? Perfect, thank you.
Thank you. All right. It's a perfect segue to our scheduled discussions. Who's going first? The First Church?
Mr. Chair, I think Guy Miller, your health officer, just had a
Okay.
couple of comments related to today's presentations and the use of the opioid funds.
Okay, good morning.
Sir, I'm gonna slide to the back.
Good morning, members of the board. I'm very excited this morning to introduce 2 of our 3 organizations awarded for the opioid settlement funds through the County of Berrien. Sacred Heart will be presenting sometime in May. They regret to not be here today. I, as well as Miss Peopleshurst right in front from the Berrien County Health Department, have been working very diligently to make sure that these funds are spent strategically and in a meaningful way, which directly supports people struggling with substance use disorders in Berrien County. How Berrien County is really spending these opioid settlement funds is innovative and unprecedented really throughout the state of Michigan. We've done a phenomenal job with being agile and responding quickly to what the community's need is through this process. So just to reflect very briefly, this process began back in November of 2023 with a series of county resolutions. One of them established the Opioid Oversight Committee, and that's what we're reviewing today. The goal of this Opioid Oversight Committee is to evaluate the performance of programs awarded through the funding of the opioid settlement funds. The committee is composed of a diverse group of county employees, substance use disorder stakeholders, and community members, and they had congregated to review and have congregated to review the quarterly reporting that these programs have been doing, financial status reviews, amendments to the original request for proposals. The group used these reports to analyze programmatic alignment with the goals that they outlined in their scope of work through their competitive request for proposal process. Through the evaluation process, the committee has scored each program awarded funds based on the key performance metrics set by the awarded organizations, and has provided comments and recommendations to support programmatic improvements. Each of you have been given, you'll see on your desk, a completed scoring rubric detailing the funded program's assessment and a summary of the committee's comments, highlighting the strengths and areas of improvement and recommendations to enhance their reporting and programmatic outcomes. This being the first year of the awards, I'm happy to report that the Oversight Committee sees value in each of these programs that is being supported through the opioid settlement funds from the County of Berrien and sees benefit in their continued funding. Today, we have the opportunity to hear directly from the First Church of God and from the Sheriff's Department through their medication-assisted treatment program. And I'm really excited for them to present to you how they're supporting people in Berrien County with substance use disorders.
So I just have to click right down here and then go to the screen.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Peter Sando. I'm the Executive Director of the Restoration House. I want to start off with a huge thank you to the county and the partnership with the funding and making this possible. This has been a deep passion of mine for years now to start a men's home, and is deeply needed. And I know that firsthand from my own life experiences and my own personal recovery journey. And with that, before we actually get started and onto the numbers and what all we're doing, I want you guys to hear a little bit from the guys at the Restoration House. So they each wrote letters, and those letters are in the back of your packets, but I just want to point out some of these or highlighted areas. I pray we can have more restoration houses like this one. A lot of men need programs like this. This is one of the best opportunities I've received. I'm truly blessed. I'm in a better place than I ever have been. Coming from a person that struggled with substance abuse, from a man that couldn't even look in the mirror because he hated who I was and had to learn, how to love myself again and find a purpose in my life again. These men are doing that, right? They're learning to love themselves again. They're able to look in the mirror again. They're learning structure in their life. They're learning what it is to have purpose in life. But we can't do it alone. I can do so much by myself. The church can do so much on our own. However, it takes the entire community, just like raising a child, right? We're starting fresh with these men. Some men have never had no structure in their lives. I can tell you one quick story. We're sitting around the dinner table, all having dinner, and this kid looks at me and he says, "PJ, I have never experienced this in my entire life." Now, this is coming from a 23-year-old kid that, has never actually sat around a table and had a meal with a family like that, right? So that's just one of the huge things. It might be little to some people, but that's just so phenomenal to me that he felt the love coming from all of us, right? So in here's some of the community partners that we partnered with. Riverwood, they seek all their substance abuse treatment at Riverwood. Connexus and the Equal Opportunity Center, we're partnering with them to seek opportunities of GED programs, maybe going back to college, trade schooling, and other opportunities as they arise. So that the men, when they leave the program, they can be certified, have a skill, they can actually have a meaningful employment when they leave the program. And then the Berrien County Jail has been fortunate enough to let us come in and interview people that needs housing. So coming out, we do have people that has came out being on the MAT program in the jail into the house. So we were able to make that transition successful, where we can get them out of the jail off MAT straight to their doctor the next day to keep that continued for them. Mosaic, they volunteer at Mosaic and do the Jobs for Life program, learning more skills. The YMCA, we have partnered with them and, working on the mind, body, and spirit. They go to the gym 3 times a week, where they have a personal trainer they meet with twice a week that goes over, nutrition and health with them as well. The Celebrate Recovery, the 12-step program, and then Intercare and Corewell Health. We have addiction specialists at both places that meet with not all of our consumers, not all of our guests, but the ones that are on MAT. But they also see them for primary care physicians and dentists. And then Sacred Heart has also referred guests to our house and are kind enough to let me go inside there and visit with the men face to face. So, and I just want to point out with this, we have not even been open a year. And these are all the partnerships and accomplishments we have had. We've had over 25 applications to the house. We've had up to 9 people in the house. We are at capacity right now with 6 people in the first house. So if you just look here's some of the measurable outcomes. I've drug tested over, admitted over 150 drug and alcohol tests and only had one positive test. And that was when the person first came into the house. You know, for me, we've been open for 7 months almost. And for me, that's just phenomenal to have that. That shows that we are making a change and making a difference in these men's life. They feel safe. They know they don't have to use today. They're comfortable where they're at. They feel supported and loved. They've also done over 104 hours of community service. 4 men in the program have completed intense outpatient therapy, which is, 3 times a week, 3 days a week, for 3 hours at a time. And that goes for 3 to 4 months. So it's pretty intense. And then after that, they're in individual therapy as well, on top of an aftercare programs that continue on for the next 6 to 9 months. So they'll be in treatment there for the duration of their stay at the restoration house. We have weekly guests that come over, mentors in the morning. We do studies every morning. We sit around the table and talk and read out of a 12-step recovery Bible. And then we have the mentors there also help out with the men. Some of those men are in recovery as well. And then the guests at the house have completed over 504 hours of group therapy combined with all the men in the house, right? And then the next steps, I know that we may not get the opioid settlement money every year, right? So this is something that can't fail, right? We can't let this just be open for 3 years to build something good and great for our community to help these men. This has to be lasting, and we have to have support financially, long term. So I am seeking right now accreditation from the Commission on Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities. They did approve me and say that we are eligible for a group home, which would make us able to bill insurance for the people to be in the house. Also, possibly employ other men to help out at the house. And we would have to adapt also to their policies and procedures as well. So it will more protect the restoration house and the guests at the house. And then I only have 5 minutes, so it was kind of short. But again, I want to just thank all of you guys for all your support. And I really look forward to the fruitful partnerships and growing this in the community. And like I said, this is just the beginning of something big, right? I really feel and hope and am going to do my best to make this succeed and grow, right? We're set to have a second home in the next year, right? So, but I see it bigger than that. And I'm not going to stop until it continues to grow and gets to where it needs to be. Is there any questions?
Sir.
Just a quick question for you. Could you walk me through a day in the life for one of the guests there, just from when they wake up to when they go to bed? How's the day structured for them?
Yep. So we'll say a Monday, we're going to get up 7 o'clock. They need to have breakfast, be ready. By 8 o'clock, our study will start. That will go from 8 to 9. And at 9 o'clock, they need to start getting ready. By 10 o'clock, we're at the gym. We'll be at the gym from 10 to 12. And then for the people who are in intense outpatient group therapy, from 1 to 4 after the gym. So they'll go have lunch, and then they'll go straight to group therapy after that. And then they'll go to either an AA or NA meeting in the evening. And then Tuesday mornings, they'll go with same thing, 8 o'clock. They'll be down there for their study and ready. From like 9 to 12, they'll go and volunteer. And then from 1 to 4, they will be in the group therapy. And then the ones that graduate the intense outpatient therapy, they drop down to one group meeting a week at Riverwood, and then therapy maybe once a week or twice a month. And then that opens the door up for, then we can start the financial literacy programs with the guys, and we can start the job training with the guys. So we're getting to that point where they're beginning to start that stuff now. We're not fully into it yet. We are at capacity, by the way. Our house is full with 6 men.
Ma'am.
Yes, I would like to ask, I saw where you have GED, and I'd like to know, where do you have it and who does it?
We don't actually have the GD. So that's a partnership with Michigan Works and the EOC program, who will work one-on-one with the individuals to help them. If they need their GED, right, they're gonna help them locate it, how to get their GED and help them navigate through that.
Okay, that's why I
Journey.
wondered where it was active.
So I believe it is at Michigan Works they have it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Who's next? Sheriff?
If I could just say one thing before we forget. I forgot, Commissioner Ross sent me a text and let me know that he was gonna be a little late this morning.
Okay. Okay,
So he'll be here before.
I think John's under the weather. So. Sheriff
Thank you.
and Under Sheriff.
So while Annette's getting that ready, I just want to applaud First Church and House. Senator Nesbitt appointed me to the Opioid Advisory Commission, and I can tell you, attended my first meeting last week in Lansing. And one of MDHHS' big goal and issue for using the funds is housing for that. So I applaud all their efforts and what's being done. Thank you. So while that's getting going, obviously the Berrien County Jail, the medicated assisted treatment program. As you know, we were a little bit outside the norm when we started this, a little early. It did get a little bit of a delayed start in the 1-year pilot. As you know, we changed our medical providers on January 1st. So we're about at the year mark in March from when it was fully operational till now. Obviously, opioid addiction is a threat to our community, obviously for the health and safety. The rapid or the rate of overdose use elevated after being released from jail. We've talked about this before. Within the first 48 hours and the first 2 weeks, the risk for overdose, either fatal or non-fatal, because of being incarcerated, and if they go back to using even at the same level they did before, can have a devastating effect. So the jail MAP programs are one of the kind of key. It's evidence-based treatment that helps incarcerated individuals with substance use disorder. Just a couple stats as we go through. About a quarter of the jail population in the United States has an opioid use disorder. As I mentioned before, MAT is the standard of care for treating with an opioid use disorder. Kind of a copy there from the risk involved with incarcerated from coming out. Successful treatment leads to reduction of victims of crime and recidivism. Obviously, through that, the hope not only is to reduce the risk of overdose, but also help them be successful when they get out and not return to jail. And individuals receiving treatment in jail are more likely to remain in treatment when they get out. So that's part of we'll get into some discharge planning. And I'll let Greg and Selena can jump in whenever they want, or if you have questions at the end. Obviously, the initial vision was the medication part. We did some Suboxone before if they were already on it when they came in. But obviously now we're looking to evaluate when people come in if they need it. Obviously, methadone was something we never had before. The therapy is something that was not in place before this program started. That's a crucial part of this, the MAT program, obviously, the treatment and therapy. And then the discharge planning, and that's the continued care and discharge planning. That was our initial goal. We get in some challenges and what we think, obviously, we can do better. We've been meeting with some of the stakeholders in some ways that the discharge planning can work better and be more successful. This is kind of the stats page for us. I think some of you have seen this before. It gets into number served, the doses that were given, the medical encounters. I will tell you that this program has shown us the value of our Vital Core contract. No offense, but I think if we were doing this under our previous medical jail provider, it would not be as successful as it is today. So as we see some challenges, some things we can do better, medical is not one of them. They're doing a fantastic job. They do the assessment. They're the ones giving the medication and just doing a great job. Audrey meets with Captain Herbert, who's our jail head nurse, I call it, on a regular basis. So when we look at the program improvements, obviously at the very bottom, what we're gonna say is the MAP program is definitely a success. Obviously implementing it, getting it up and running, being able to provide that. I know that we've talked to Dr. Schaefer, who's one of the addiction specialists. He sees them on the outside and has had conversations. He's like, you guys don't always hear this, but they're very thankful for the MAP program that is in jail and being provided. Obviously continued funding. Also looking at not just the county opioid funds, but where does MDHHS funding fall into this? MAT is considered one of the kind of trademarks of that. Under that funding, I will say one challenge, which we look as a long-term goal, is when we're giving medication, one thing in a correctional facility, we're very worried about what's called diversion. Is we've gotten away from kind of the strips and we do it in the middle of the night. So one doctor said, well, here you guys do this. Well, we do it to make sure we can really watch to make sure they're taking the medication. One of the best ways we've talked with some of the stakeholders is there is a shot that can be given. That would be great for the jail, but I can tell you it's expensive. So when I say it's a long-term goal, Medicaid would cover for the first part, but as you know, when you're incarcerated, right now that doesn't get extended. There's been talk about it, but with some of the Medicaid issues, not sure that's going to happen. But that's a long-term goal, which would be a much better way of administering the medication. Expand options for it. We talked about that with the methadone, Suboxone, and the Sublocade that I have in number 2. That is the shot that we're talking about. Partner with community resources. We've had conversations with some of the stakeholders in some ways that we can do better in the discharge planning. Obviously from a jail standpoint, different than prison, you can get bonded out, you can be released at a time that may be unknown. So that discharge planning needs to start from the very beginning. Data collection. This is something we're improving. It's very difficult for us sometimes to get the data when they leave, but that's where we think partnering with a more local community partner may help us in that data connection. And then obviously continuation of the MAP program. That's a vital program for inmates with substance use disorder. So we are looking to continue. Okay, we were given 5 minutes, so I'll let Selena jump in anytime. But obviously we do look at a success. We appreciate the feedback we've gotten from the Opioid Settlement Task Force. We recognize ourselves. I'm not saying names, I'm saying community partners, because we are in conversations with some I think could be a great partner for us in improving the coordination, discharge planning, and just the overall program.
We have a question, ma'am.
Yes.
What is MAT?
Medication assisted treatment.
Thank you.
So there's jail-based, and you'll hear MAT happens outside it too. Obviously ours is a jail-based MAT program.
Would you say it again?
Medication assisted treatment.
Thank you.
So it's the medication. For us, it's buprenorphine. We use Suboxone, methadone, medication that can assist with those that are in a substance use disorder. And then the treatment is the therapy. And then obviously for us, the discharge planning, because it's very important for us when they get out that are successful, especially the number one is the fatal and non-fatal overdose risk when you've come from being incarcerated, not having it available, and then going back to using it at a level that they may have before.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyone else wish to add to the
Yeah,
mix,
come up
or are
here.
we good?
Okay. No?
You don't have to. It's
Okay.
no points will be deducted.
So just, one thing I know, on the funding, like I said, we are looking at working with community partners and may have a different structure for that we'll bring to you in the near future.
Good.
Very good. Thank you all. This is a bit of sunshine. And we look forward to hearing more about it.
Mr. Chair, as a reminder to the board, you do have 3 members of the Board of Commissioners participating in the review process. So Commissioner Yarborough, Commissioner Freeland, Commissioner Werfel are all actively involved in it. Something to brag about to you all, to just put to illustrate the leadership that is occurring in Berrien County. This is something that the Michigan Association of Counties has actively presented statewide, is the process that has been used within Berrien County to select the vendors, to hold the vendors accountable, and then to be very strategic in the spend down of those opioid funds. It's something that you all as a board should be really proud of. Some really good work and a lot of work has gone into this. On behalf of staff, just to these three board members, thank you for the time you've invested in it. There is a whole lot more coming here. So the opioid funds, while it is a significant amount of money, between, I want to say $8.5 and $9 million. It's a significant amount of money, but it is a huge amount of work. The plan is to spread this over an 18-year period. This is just the very first taste of what's to come.
Great, thank you. Thank you all. We're going to then move to public comments. If anyone has anything they'd like to share with us, where the microphone is with the green light at the podium, up to 2 minutes, name and town if you wish to opine. Okay, I think we can conclude the public comments portion and go to adjournment. Does anyone have anything before we adjourn? Yes, ma'am.
I do, two things. One, on the requisition list during our 10:30 meeting, I will be abstaining from rec number 77319 for Rev Excavating in the amount of $16,290, just out of an abundance of caution. I've let the clerk know, but I wanted to let the board know as well, as that's typical procedure. And then the other thing, I just wanted to thank everyone that's here. While they had 5 minutes to present to us, there has been a lot of back and forth of just making certain that this is hitting the mark, that, you know, we are really doing our due diligence of making certain that we are serving the public in the best way that we can. And so I thank all of you for your time, your dedication to this, and we will continue to do the work that we do.
Ma'am.
One item, I have abstained on this issue because my daughter-in-law, who's sitting in the office, who assists First Church of God, is sitting here, and that is my abstention when you see me abstain.
Okay. Anyone else? I commend the board for having three of our colleagues serve. It not only gives us eyes and ears, it gives us the capacity to engage in real time with everyone, all of the players. And so I'm glad we're doing this. I'm glad you all are involved. So with that, before I forget, I'm going to have to leave by 11 sharp. So if during the 10:30 meeting, I appear to be doing that routine, you'll understand why. So if we get done by then, great. If not, you'll be here. So, okay, let's break for committees.